It's about internet security. Now, of course, your computer screen is probably broadcasting, and somebody can be reading it several blocks away from what your computer screen itself is broadcasting. But aside from that, what about somebody being able to hack into your computer? Well, I tell you, some years ago when I was at the beach, I picked up a clump of sand, and I'm looking at the sand very finely. Wow, look at that. Tiny grains, all different colors. And there's a lot of randomness in that. The red, green, blue bitmap scale. If you take a picture, a close-up picture of some sand, the first few bytes of that bitmap are actually the header that says what kind of a bitmap it is, what version and everything else. But the rest of it is bytes of data, red, green, and blue. Numbers 8 bits long. One for the 128s column, one for the 64s, one for the 32s, one for the 16s, one for the 8s, one for the 4s, one for the 2s, and one for the 1s column. Just like a decimal number, 8 digits long. There's the 10 millions column, the 1 millions column, and so on. Well, the 128s column might not be so random, but everything 8, 4, 2, and 1 are a lot more random. When you're taking grains of sand, it's very random exactly where the camera happens to hit that grain of sand, and what angle the light happens to be hitting that grain of sand greatly influences that. What angle the grain of sand happens to be landing at or showing at relative to straight down or the direction of the camera. So with all that randomness, you can make one-time pads. You would have to get the sand and have it on a conveyor, take a close-up picture, then move the conveyor forward, advance the conveyor so that now you're taking a picture at different sand. But you're collecting the sand at the other end and dumping it back out onto the conveyor at the beginning. So you keep taking pictures of the same sand over and over again, but it keeps getting reshuffled every time. Very easy to reshuffle and very easy to take pictures of all that random sand. So a 1 megapixel image would actually have 3 million bytes, and half of those bytes, half of that data is very random. The 8s, 4s, 2s, and 1s column is much more random. So you'd have 1.5 megabytes of very random data with which to make a one-time pad. Now, you would have to encrypt your data with one-time pads, and your correspondents would have to have one-time pads at the other end. But what about if a hacker hacks into the computer that you're using to encrypt on and to decrypt on? Well, here's where it's a real hassle. And the question is whether security is worth the hassle. I think it is for a lot of applications. I don't see a lot of this security being implemented, but you use one computer to compose and produce your message, and then to encrypt it on a one-time pad. Then you export that to, I liked saying a 5 1/4 inch floppy. I liked those because those were easy to erase with a magnet, and once you did, gone. Reformat it after you wipe it with the kitchen magnet. But export it to a flash drive. All you're exporting is the crypt text, and perhaps a label that says exactly which one-time pad it's encrypted with. But hey, all they know is that it's encrypted with that one-time pad. They don't have a copy of it. And they can hack into that computer that's online all they want. You're using a computer that's not online at all to compose and to decrypt on, and you're using that, and it's not connected to anything. That's the one you really have to shield. And then you export that to a flash drive or the 5 1/4 inch floppy, and export it you take that out and put it into the other computer and upload it and send it. And you don't care if it gets intercepted because all they get is the crypttext. As long as your correspondent gets the crypttext as well, then they can decrypt on that. You would have to have a secure operation for producing the crypttext. A bank could do this, where they have a secure operation to produce the crypttext. And when you open up your account and you want to sign up for online banking, they give you the medium with which the one-time pad is recorded, on which it's recorded. So now you have a copy and the bank server has a copy, but nobody else does. And so you're doing your online banking. That would be a big hassle if you have to use two different computers at the same time. How to simplify the process of removing from one computer and putting it into another computer every time would be a major improvement. If you could streamline that process without compromising security, then go for it. But as I said, using pictures of sand, bitmap images of pictures of sand to produce your one-time pads, that is one of the keys that I want to let everyone think about.